Welcome to the SOB radio show, where we have fun, interesting guests, and hot topics. Each week, we offer insights into music, fashion, health, fitness, and humor. Do you have the perfect guest for us to interview? I want to know. Drop me a line on our Facebook page at Spunky Old Broad 1 or reach out to me on our website at spunkyoldbroad.com. And now, back to the show. My guest today is Namrata Chansarkar. Her name is Namu, that's what we call her, and she's been telling us about her cancer journey. Not only did she have breast cancer, but when she went for a PET scan, it was discovered that she was on her road to ovarian cancer, and luckily for her, because of the PET scan, because of her doctor, she had a hysterectomy, she got rid of the ovaries, and now she is cancer free. She went through a lot. She had a lot of negative reaction to the treatment she was given, discovered Chinese medicine, discovered acupuncture, and now is a devotee to it. So let me ask you, Namu, how did the alternative healing modalities change you as a person?
Okay. Um, I, as I said, I explored a lot of different healing modalities at that time and point, including yoga, energy healing, quantum touch healing, you name it, and I have tried it. When I was trying all these healing modalities, it was totally an eye opener in terms of how I felt afterwards and how it changed my mindset, like how it really opened a horizon for me. Being a scientist and always worked with an analytical mind, it was a game changer for me to let go of my inhibitions of always trying to reason and analyze what I see and really experience how I feel. So I would say that was the most important take home from that.
Interesting, because as you say, you are very analytical. You look at everything from a scientific viewpoint,
Right.
and this was something you had never been exposed to before, and
Uh-huh.
you were not aware of it, and then all of a sudden, there it was, and then you chose actually to study Chinese medicine, and now you are an acupuncturist, correct?
Yes, I am.
And so, tell me about the women and men, for example. I'm sure you have men too. Uh,
Yes.
Tell me about the people who come to you for acupuncture. Tell me what they come for, what they say to you. How long does it usually take before someone sees a change or an improvement? Tell our audience things about that.
Sure. Yeah, so when anyone, women and men, I have both patients, more women, less men, but I still get all spectrum of patients. And they come to me for like a lot of different things actually. I have treated a lot of interesting cases. And apart from breast cancer, which is so close to me, which I'm always willing to help, I have treated teenagers. Like I had a case of teenager where he had alopecia, like sudden hair loss in a particular spot on the back of his head, and it was growing. And I did not know, I had not treated something like that before, but I understood what may have gone wrong, and it was related to stress, and that is what really was causing it. We had been to many Western doctors, other doctors, and everybody had denied any hope of having the hair come back. And I said, let's set the objective timeline of I will treat you 2 to 3 times a week, say for X number of weeks, and we will see. If we don't see any results in that much time, then we can stop the treatment if you want. And since he was a teenager, he was very reluctant of needles, and I totally get it. And I told him, I understand that how you feel, but this is your chance. If you want to try, you can try. Because in Chinese medicine, they do say they're called ghost spots when they happen in young adults and they're treatable. So I treated him and it was amazing. His hair came back, and I have pictures of before and after. And I shared that case on my Instagram page recently. And that boy was so happy. Otherwise, he was not having a haircut. He was very embarrassed to even show that spot to anyone. Nobody knew about it except his family members. And it hasn't, like, the bald spot is gone now. He has normal hair. This is one case. Another case, again, of a man. He was a young man in his 40s, and he came for tension headaches. Every day afternoon, he would come home and he would have a headache. So when he would have a headache, he would just take Advil and go to sleep. He came to me to get the treatment for headache because his neurologist referred him to me. And I was treating his headache, but he was also on a very low dose lisinopril because he was stage 1 hypertensive. So when I started treating his headache, I realized when his headaches were getting better, less frequent, and less, um, I would say, less in intensity, his I could tell from the pulse maybe his blood pressure is also going down. So I asked him, once his headaches were like really not that often, to go back to his doctor and check his blood pressure and see if it has really gone down. And he went back to the doctor and he didn't need lisinopril anymore. So his headaches were related to stress and the blood pressure was related to stress. And while treating his headache, I indirectly treated his blood pressure, because what I do is I treat the constitution and I treat what is out of balance, not the symptom.
Well, it's interesting. There's absolute proof through a lot of research studies that stress is the biggest cause of absenteeism in corporate America today.
Yes,
And there's no question that stress is the cause of so many illnesses. In fact, they say that cancer is brought on by stress, because
yes.
it triggers things in our body.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you would think in this day and age, with all our modern contraptions and with everything that we know, that stress would be so far from everybody's life. But I've been teaching stress for years and years and years. And basically, I simply say stress is the amount of wear and tear on your body. And the problem is that stress comes from high demand and low control. When you have no control over, what's happening around you or in your life, that's where stress comes from. And so
Yes.
when I was traveling a lot, when I was doing my 20-year speaking career around the world, I
Mm-hmm.
figured out that there were a lot of stressors, but the things that I could not control were the planes. I couldn't control when they flew, how they flew. I couldn't control weather.
Yes.
I couldn't control any of these things. So how was I going to deal with that? So that's when I did all my writing. That's when I did all my reading, and so I really got through a lot of material, because I was stuck a lot, in these
Yes.
airports. And it's even worse today, because it used to be I could transfer from one line to the other. Now you're stuck. If that airline doesn't fly, you're stuck.
Yes.
But it's interesting to know that there are people who use acupuncture for migraines, headaches, for pain, for loss of hair, alopecia.
Yeah.
It's really interesting to know that some of these things work. Now I realize they do not work on everybody, but if they can work on some people, if they can make your life easier, even psychologically, if you think, it's almost like the placebo effect. If you think it's working, that can help. So it's interesting that you're dealing with all these different people, and so many different things. So if you were to give a message to women in general, Namu, what would you tell them?
My message to women in general is very simple. Take care of your health first, because women are excellent in taking care of others. They're excellent caregivers and they're always there for others. But this is my through my own journey, and also by watching so many women around me. Once I became so self-aware and I'm living so much in the present moment every day now, I realize that a lot of us are on go, 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 and especially women. They want to have a career, they want to have a family, they want to have a lot of things that um, that they put themselves on as demands then, and then they forget to take care of themselves. So I encourage them. I give them the analogy of an airplane and safety belt a lot. Like, you have to protect yourself before you take care of others. You have to nurture yourself before you start nurturing others. And then the way, like, when I say this, they don't get it. So the way I also try to get them to think about these things is also by asking questions like, when was the last time that they truly felt happy and relaxed? And what was, if they were happy with that activity? And most of the time the answer comes back saying, I don't even remember, because they are so much on the go that they don't even remember the last time they truly felt happy and relaxed. And if ever the answer comes back saying, yes, I was happy due to, say, because I went for dancing or because I went to the beach, then I say, if that makes you happy, what does it take to include that in your daily routine? And
Well,
if
that's
that,
true. That is so
yeah,
true. I mean, you talked about, doing yoga and so forth, and I'm a big exerciser. And
uh-huh,
so, yeah, and but everybody has to find, and this is the key, folks.
exactly.
You've got to find what works for you. For example, I have friends who do not own a TV set. They do not want to watch TV. They
Uh-huh,
say they get all the news they want from with their electric devices, from the computers, from
uh-huh,
their cell phones.
uh-huh,
I love TV. Now, I don't
uh-huh.
watch a lot of reality shows or things like that, but I like my detective things. I love NCIS. I love Blue Bloods. I love Hawaii Five O. So, and I relax when I'm watching those things. I just have the best time. And since
Uh-huh.
I discovered the Hallmark Channel, I mean, that does it all for me. But on the other hand, some people, and also the other thing besides the TV and the working out that I do, I've got my pets, and I love my pets, and I'll
Yes,
talk to them, and they sit on my lap, and they look at me as if they really understand what I'm saying, and it's very relaxing for me. So it doesn't matter what you
yes,
choose. It does not matter
no.
what you choose. It matters that you choose something. And Namu, you said it very well. Women are great caretakers. They take care of everybody else except themselves. And
Mm-hmm.
so it is. It's important. I do believe in preventive medicine. I do believe that we need our checkups. I believe you need to go to the dentist and take care of your teeth. I think you do need to get your annual checkups. I don't think you need to be a
Mm-hmm.
hypochondriac. And I do know some hypochondriacs. But, but it is important that you take care of yourself. So you also now kind of practice uh, carpe diem. In other words, seize the
Yes,
day, take
right.
advantage. So
Yeah.
how do you do that? What do you do to seize the day?
Um, you know, that slowly happened to me. Like, as I said, I explored a lot of different modalities. I was always a yoga practitioner through my life. It was not new to me. I had done meditation previously when I was younger in India, and I lost track of that in between when life got busy, and I didn't realize how important it was for me to meditate. And how I do it now is, everything I do, I practice mindfulness. So it could be just going for mindfulness walks. When I'm with my patients, I'm the most mindful person. I listen very carefully to what they are saying. I'm very patient with them. Lot of times I realized when I'm with my patients that they are just not heard by anyone. You just need to be mindfully present with them in every moment. So I practice mindfulness from what I eat. I don't talk on my phone when I'm eating or cooking. I do not watch TV when I'm eating or cooking. So every action, when I'm gardening, I'm really thinking of all those plants because I love plants, I love nature. So when I pick a flower, I ask for permission from the plant. Can I cherish your flower in my home? So I'm very mindful and very grateful and very thankful. So I kind of live every moment in the present that way.
Interesting. I think it's very admirable, how you've completely shifted everything that you started out doing,
Right.
and now you're involved in this. So let's talk about some of the other parts of Namu that we have not talked about.
Sure.
Um, Tell us a little bit about Indian classical dance. What is that, and is that what we see when we look at the Indian weddings, when we look at different movies? What is Indian classical dance?
Yes. So Indian classical dance, I grew up learning since I was 5, and it's such an ancient tradition, and there are so many different varieties of Indian classical dance. It started as a tradition to dance in the temples in centuries ago, and then it came to the court after the Mughals came, and then it was more like a court dance, and now India has revived all their traditional dances so well that all these styles are very well defined, and it's like a, I would say, a huge industry in one way, but at the same time, for me, that was the most relaxing time. When I was younger, I used to go to my job, and every Friday I would make sure I go to an adult Indian class. I used to also teach Indian classical dancing when I was in Vancouver, but I didn't teach it after I moved to US. But what I'm trying to say is every time I would come home on a Friday night and I would leave my kids with my husband and I would say, I'm going. And he was always encouraging. He's like, go. And every time before I go, I would be like, oh my gosh, why am I going? Because I'm so tired. But then I would go there and things would light up for me. I just felt so fulfilling and so full of life when I was dancing, and I would come home, I would be completely recharged. I was just a different person going in and coming back. That is the power. When you truly enjoy something and live that dream, it's very gratifying. And Indian classical dance now is taught in US everywhere. Like I know so many children who are born and brought up here have learned Indian classical dance for multiple reasons. It's not just an exercise, it takes you to your roots, it takes you to your traditions, and it's an exercise not just of your physical body, but also there is emotion involved. There's a lot of subtle nuances of your eyes, of your eyebrows, like there are a lot of subtle things, and it all comes from spirituality again. So the ultimate goal of these dancers was to connect with the divine in the ancient time.
Interesting, very interesting. So you practice that to this day, and tell us about the jewelry that you make. What kind of jewelry do you do?
Yeah, so that also started as a journey when I was going through my cancer healing. I was told by many people that, um, you need to practice something that really makes you happy and, that makes you fulfill your creative energy. And I thought about going back to dancing, but with all my arthritis, I could hardly walk. So how could I dance? And I was blessed that I had a lot of friends who helped me a lot in that time. And one of my friend, her name is Shravani, she was also a newcomer to making jewelry, but she took me to the store and we bought some stuff, and she said, I will teach you how to make jewelry. And then we started making this jewelry just as a creative journey. We were not perfect, but it was full of love that we were making it. And I started giving it away as a gift to all the people who helped me at that time as a gesture to say, thank you, you helped me, and this is something I made for you. And then my daughter jumped into it. She was a teenager and she got interested. We both started making a lot of jewelry, and my daughter took the initiative. Actually, she became very proactive as a teenager in spreading the word about breast cancer and talking with young women about breast cancer. And we would run these fundraiser shows, and we have donated, both of us together used to do this jewelry making as well as events. So she was only what, 15 when she started speaking out with the public, and she would take the jewelry and go to her taekwondo class and host an event outside the class, or go to her piano class and display it there. And all the proceeds were donated to different local charities, including San Diego Cancer Research Institute, um, Radius Children's Hospital, Moore's Cancer Center, American Cancer Society. So whatever proceeds I still do this, and whatever proceeds are raised from this creative endeavor of ours, we just donate it to different charities.
Interesting. Again, so this is a way, again, for you to think about, what's going on in your life. What is it that you've always wanted to do that you haven't done and that you might be able to turn into something that's not only profitable for you, but that does a good deed, such as giving gifts to the people who helped you, or providing something for the various charities or volunteer organizations that are around a cause that you like. There's just so many ways to give back, and we don't think of it. And then we get weighed down in our own kind of what we call pity party. And
Yeah.
yeah, and you need to be very aware of those things. So tell me about the biotechnology end of it. Are you no longer doing anything with biotechnology, Namu?
No, I have absolutely forgotten my biotechnology in some ways. I like to say that because it makes me happy. But at the same time, I feel when you're trained scientist for so long, your mind never shuts down. That part of your mind is always there.
That's
So,
true.
what I say now today, my strength as a Chinese medicine practitioner and as an acupuncturist is I always like to include evidence-based research in my conversations. And this is something like I don't go by just one clinical trial, but I like to study Chinese medicine the way it was taught. But at the same time, there is so much Western research. For example, there is a study from UCI that was published recently that said acupuncture works for blood pressure. And the reason I'm bringing that study is I mentioned a case study about blood pressure. But there is so much about women's health that the Chinese medicine can offer. And people don't understand how can this regulate my period. Like I have treated a lot of women regulating their period with pain or with PMS, or even I have a case I'm working on right now, which is a fibroid case. She has a fibroid of tennis ball, and now after 1 or 2 months of treatment, her bleeding is regulated. At least she's not bleeding like crazy. But what I'm trying to make a point here is I actually like to combine both the East and the West in
I
my
think
thinking.
that's the best. I do think
Yeah.
that's the best.
And I
Tell,
like to combine them and bring them together in coherence and present it so that when I talk with patients, I don't sound total woo woo and I don't really talk so much of the yin yang chi blood language. Instead, I talk that language, but at the same time, I like to present research that is evidence based if
all
they're
right,
in that
now we
mindset.
only have 2 minutes left. So tell people how they can get a hold of you. Tell them if you have something you'd like to offer them, that's fine too. How can people reach you?
They can reach me by texting at my cell number that is 949-294-1490, and or they can email me at namuacu at gmail.com. And I just have a quick message for everyone. The way I look at Chinese medicine right now is when I am with my patient, I feel my passion, my purpose, and my profession. All these things, all the three things in life and aligned, and every moment I spend is well spent. And I would love to help anybody, even just on a phone conversation, a free phone consult.
Fantastic. Well, again, folks, I want to remind you that if you go to my website, spunkyoldbroad.com, send me anything you'd like. In other words, on my contact page, you can let me know, do you want me to interview a particular guest? Are there particular issues that you're interested in? Are there, you know, subjects that you want me to cover that we haven't covered, and any questions you have for me, I would be more than glad to talk with you about them. If you want to do a little consulting session with me on whatever subject you're interested in, I'm open to that as well. So you've had a lot of information thrown at you from Namu, and hopefully you will go to visit her. She's in Encinitas. You can text her at her phone, which is 949-294-1490. And you can also email her at namuacu @gmail.com. Thank you so much for being with us today, Namu. It has been a pleasure.
Thank you, Gail. It's my pleasure.